and further enjoins the rest of government to cooperate on the delivery of services to military veterans. The ministry acknowledges that it was its intention and wish to disperse the military pension by the 1st of December 2022, as it was originally communicated by the Deputy President, Honorable D.D. Mabuza. Nevertheless, consistent with our constitutional injunction to redress our past and honor those that fought for freedom, the Military Veterans Act of 2011 directed government to roll out socio-economic benefits to the community of military veterans. It is regrettable that the military veterans' pension had not been budgeted for in the previous years since the introduction or the passing of the Military Veterans Act of 2011. Through the intervention of the Presidential Task Team, priority will be given to members of the former non-statutory forces as the main target group to access this benefit. This military veterans pension will redress the imbalances of the past and bring to realization a benefit that is provided for in the Act. The process to roll out the pension payout will commence after the lapse of the 30 days after the tabling of the regulations in Parliament. The department will, in the meantime, take in applications and process them accordingly through the government pension processes and systems under GPAA. However, in the process of the implementation of this decision, we are confronted with unavoidable administrative processes which resulted in the delay in the payment of the pension benefits. One of these was the requirement that the draft pension regulations and the pension benefit access forms should be tabled in Parliament first. These were tabled in Parliament in early December. This will in turn legalize the operationalization of the pension of military veterans. We want to reassure the community of military veterans and reiterate that the government remains fully committed to the provision of the pension benefit to military veterans and has begun the necessary administrative processes. Government is fully conscious and aware of the financial challenges facing military veterans, particularly in the current difficult economic times, characterized by poor economic growth, joblessness, and persistent poverty. The Department of Military Veterans is working around the clock to ensure that the disbursement of the military veterans pension benefit is implemented as soon as possible. In order to avoid any further delays, we urge military veterans to register with the Department of Military Veterans on the database in order to qualify for the benefits provided by the department. The introduction of this pension, as it was announced, will be backdated to the 1st of April 2022. A fully completed military veterans pension benefit application form should be accompanied by an identity document and a certified birth, marriage, partnership certificate, and service certificate clearly indicating the force number of the applicant. Military veterans are urged to apply in person or through registered post. The correct address must be specified on the appropriate form, which can be found on the DMV website and provincial offices. These forms will be forwarded to the Government Pensions Administration Agency, GPAA, which is responsible for processing applications and paying out of this pension. The rollout is one of the most significant milestones in the ongoing work of the Department of Military Veterans to address the plight of military veterans. DMV will continue to ensure that qualifying military veterans are provided with the Military Veterans Pension Benefit support and that it is implemented in an effective, efficient, sustainable, and accountable manner. With respect to the social relief of distress, the Presidential Task Team has taken a decision that the military veterans should be paid the social relief of distress support amount of 1,250, which is topped up by the DMV. This will be a significant improvement of the previous 350 rents paid to the recipients of the social relief of distress grant. The department will find alternative ways to implement such support in an effective and equitable manner to ensure that all those eligible to this benefit receive it. We convey to the community of military veterans the sincere apology that the social relief of distress has not been rolled out among military veterans the way we had promised at the beginning of the work of the Presidential Task Team. The Department of Military Veterans provides funding to eligible military veterans and their dependents who wish to pursue studies in public institutions within the Republic of South Africa. We urge military veterans and their dependents to apply. The Ministry is fully aware of the organizational, managerial, and leadership challenges faced by the Department of Military Veterans, which impact negatively on its ability and capacity to deliver services to the stakeholders. This is a matter that is receiving attention in the ministry, and we are committed to restoring the dignity of military veterans and to be aligned to the constitutional injunction to honor those who fought and sacrificed to bring about the democracy we enjoy today. End of statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. We are ready to take questions. If you have any question for Minister and Deputy Minister, we'll try to take 5 sets first. If it's more, we'll then move to the next set of questions. You'll introduce your name and the media house that you are representing, and then pose your question. We can start with you, ma'am, and then, is that Eric? Power FM, number 2, 3. Yeah, you can proceed, ma'am.
Alex Patrick from News 24. My query is to the Minister, and it's about the Lady R vessel, the sanctioned Lady R vessel that's sitting in Simonstown. We wanted to know whether you could confirm if you were warned about the vessel arriving, and if you could tell us what the vessel is loading or offloading. Thank you.
Thanks. Next question.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Thabo Molokwane from Power FM News. To the Deputy Minister, my question is based on, I didn't get to get the figures of how much was allocated for the budget for the disbursement. So my question is based on, previously we've heard of 37 million rand, which was allocated for 2022-2023 financial year, and then a further 102 million rands for 2023-2024, and 109 million rands for 2024 and 2025, which was previously announced by the Deputy President when he spoke about the issue here. So we just wanted to check what are the figures, how much is allocated for the disbursements, and also why has it taken so long? Because we know that the military veterans have been, raising these issues, saying that they need to be able to sustain themselves also. Why has it taken so long? And also, maybe just to confirm to us that because the deadline was December, so you said it that obviously it needs to go to Parliament and all these processes that needs to be followed. So it means that the deadline for December falls through. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
My name is Harold Adong. I'm from SACC MVA, South African Colored Corps Military Veterans Association. I just want to find out from the Deputy Minister. He mentioned that the pension is only for non-statutory forces. What happened with the statutory forces? Because we also protect our country and we complete our service, a 2-year service, and we never receive any pension from the previous government. So why do you sideline the statutory forces? And my other question to the Minister is, on the military veterans documents, they only mention MK, APLA, and Zania. SACC MVA is not mentioned in the documents, and we are also a recognized association. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Okay, well, I'll then, in the absence of further questions, I'll ask the principals to respond, and then from there, we'll go to online questions. Vanessa, you're ready, no? Thank you very much. Minister India.
Thank you very much and good morning. I'll start with the last question. The Cape Colored military veterans. Why are we sidelining them? You are right. You are members of the SAMVA like all other military veterans. It is an umbrella body of all the fighting forces. It does not make a distinction between who was statutory or not statutory. It accommodates all the history and the cultural heritage of the different forces that have ever fought in this country. That's separate from recognizing that there were statutory forces within this country. Now, that is where the distinction comes in. It does not mean that when we say that members of Mkhonto Wesizwe, former members, when we say members of APLA and members of Azanla, the focus group, we are saying that all of them. Actually, not all of the members of APLA and MVA qualify for this particular benefit, because you will remember that at the point of integration, different fighting forces statutory fighting forces and non-statutory fighting forces were brought together to form the National Defence Force. Now, some of these, all the statutory forces, at that point, it was assumed that they had one, their salaries, Azanla, APLA, MK did not get salaries. They did not get any benefit. They did not get any pension allocations or contributions.
We dipped out of this briefing. Let's take you back. The Defence Ministry with the Minister Thandi Modise and the Deputy Minister Thabang Makwetla addressing the media on progress made relating to benefits for military veterans, saying that pension benefits will now be paid out to military veterans, but the veterans have to start the process off by submitting in applications. Also saying that 1,250 social relief of distress grant will be advanced to military veterans. Let's continue to listen in.
Military veterans who are receiving or who are recipients of the special pension. And also, this pension will not include military veterans from the former statutory forces. The reason for it is that in our understanding, all the former statutory forces members were employees of government. They were civil servants. And the conditions of employment would have covered their plight in relation to pensions. There are military veterans who were, for instance, in SADF, as a result of the national service system that was conscription, which was in place then. Those are not considered for the purposes of this pension because it was conscription. They were only in service for a limited period that was stipulated to do their national service, and they would go back to their civilian lives and continue to be economically active in whatever jobs they were holding, and their pensions would therefore be provided within that framework. So there is no military veteran from the statutory forces who would say, I do not have a pension. Those who were permanently employed, who were part of the permanent force of the SANDF, they have pensions in their remuneration policy of the time. Similarly, those who were in the TBVC state armies, in their employment, the conditions of service included pensions. As they leave, they exit the system today, the years for which they served are recognized in the pensions that they get. So it is for that reason that you have only this category of military veterans that is targeted to be the recipients of this military veterans pension that is being introduced. That is that I thought it's the details of the origins of the policy that I thought we should share with yourselves. And that there is no mention of the statutory forces in the regulations. It is for that reason that military veterans from the statutory forces are not mentioned, because as far as this policy is concerned, they have been catered for in one way or another by the system that was in place before, as far as the remuneration and pensions of employees. Of course, we must also explain that there has been a military pension that was introduced during the time of the conscription system. It was introduced in 1976 when the South African Defence Force, SADF, started the campaign, Operation Savannah, in Angola. and there were casualties that were being incurred by the force. In 1976, a military pension was introduced, which in essence was not a pension, but it was a compensation because it was only accessed by those who came back with the injuries or disabled in one way or the other. They were receiving that military pension as a payout that was monthly provided to the end of their lives. That is how it was structured. Not for all the conscripts that were in the SANDF were receiving that military pension. That military pension was intended for those who came back with injuries or with disabilities of one kind or the other.
Well, it's a development, but always a lot of conversation that gets generated from this conversation about how to compensate military veterans. The Deputy Minister there in the Department of Defense and Military Veterans, also accompanied earlier by the Minister Thandi Modise.